This channel does a lot of Marvel Champions. I think that's pretty apparent that obviously the bread and butter of this channel is Marvel Champions. But I do enjoy playing other games, and I've slowly started to introduce playthroughs and discussions of those other games. This includes talks about or playthroughs with Final Girl, plays of Ashes Reborn or talks about Ashes Reborn. We've done a gameplay video recently of Shadows of Killforth. I have plans to do other videos that are kind of like that. And because of that, when I now live stream over on twitch.tv/D20 Woodworking, which if you're not part of that community, you really should be. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place to hang out. Make sure to hit the follow button, turn on notifications so you know when I go live. But a lot of times people ask, well, what games are coming out or are going to come out or that you're playing the back or whatever that you're excited for, that are as a solo player that you really like. And I answer it now and again on stream, but I figured it'd be nice to just have like a video where we can kind of talk about all of them. And also you all can put down in the comments what games you're excited for, right? I know we all love Marvel Champions here, but sometimes it's nice to talk about other things too. So that's the whole plan of this video. I'm just going to talk about the different campaigns that I've either backed, waiting fulfillment on, planning the back, whatever else, I'll let you know. But yeah, let's dive in and start talking about some games. All right, the first one I'm going to talk about is Creel Manor. This is a dungeon crawl card game by Tristan Hall. This is Hall or Nothing Games. I think it's a spiritual sequel to Veil Wraith, if I understand correctly. I don't think we've done Veil Wraith on this channel for like a long time. But Veil Wraith is a game that I enjoyed. It's a solo only game. This is 1 to 3 players, but there's like a 4th player optional thing it's got going on. But I like that it's only 30 minutes long. Because I'll play, games like Shadows of Killforth and just like a bit too long, right? There's a bit too much going on. But Hall or Nothing Games, I love their artwork. I think it's really cool stuff. I'll be honest, the reputation of Hall or Nothing Games and me liking their games sold me enough on this, right? The only downside is that they tend to be a little expensive. I think the pledge that I got was this one, the most expensive one, 132. Not the most expensive one because I didn't get the book. I didn't really care about that. But I got the 132 pledge. So I got that because it seemed cool and it seemed interesting and it seemed fun. But yeah, so this is just the first game. I'll be honest, this was I guess an auto back for me. I didn't even research it that much. I know that I liked Veil Wraith. I know I like the Killforth games. I like the idea of what I saw on the table when I was just watching this video, the 15-minute gameplay video, and it was a while ago now. But yeah, this is a game that interests me. It looks cool, and again, the artwork is usually so good, but the biggest downside is their games are a little expensive. So I did back this, and I will be excited for whenever this comes out. All right, this one's a little bit older. So I backed this, I want to say a month or two ago. But it's Teotihuacan, I guess. The City of Gods Deluxe Master Set. Now I own the base game and like a couple of the expansions. So I got the box, I want to say I got the mats, more mats. I got that stuff in the beauty pack. I got all that stuff. And I want to say there might be like combined together or whatever. But I really like Tio. It's a game I would like to stream live. Because I like the dice worker placement mechanism for it. I think it's really cool. I'm not a big fan of worker placement mechanics in general. Like they're just, not that they're bad, they're just like a little too simple for me right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I've played so much worker placement, I'm kind of over it. But dice worker placement, make something 6 sides. Apparently, I'm interested. But I really like that mechanic. And then Tio, it's really interesting with how it works and on this board. And you know, they're kind of like making a circle around and all this stuff. So yeah, so I'm excited for this. You get to build like a giant tower in the middle and take off tiles and all this stuff. It's just a fun game. It's an interesting game, but the solo bot's really good. I think it was Daniele Tashili, Daniel Tashi. I'm sorry, I already don't remember his name off the top of my head. Daniele Tassini, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, so I apologize. I'm not great with names, but it's his solo mode that kind of like really pushed over the top, and it wasn't. Some of his solo modes I think are a little too complicated and just a little too cumbersome. Tio, I think it does a really good job. I think it's a really solid solo mode and it's not that hard. Now, the biggest gripe of it is that like it's a big board and there's a lot of space and it takes a little bit to set up. But the game is fun, right? It is a fun game to play. It is, like I said, it's something I would like to do. I think once this master set comes in and upgrades all the components, I think that'll be fun to show on stream. But yeah, I backed it. I'm excited for it. I thought it was a pretty decent price for everything that you got. If you already own the old stuff, if you're buying like all this stuff, I don't think it's as as good of a price. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So we'll see how it goes. And it would be nice too to like have a good sized box to hold everything. Like I could fit all the old expansions into the box, but like it doesn't quite shut right. So like that's kind of a pain too. Like that's a weird thing. But anyway, I love the original game, so I'm excited to just kind of deluxify my original game of this. And you know how I feel about accessories. I love them and they're fantastic. So anyway, really excited for this one too. Next, we have Hero Realms Dungeons, and I'm sure they'll let you late pledge for this soon enough. I love Hero Realms, and it's like it's weird. So it's a true deck builder, not a deck construction game like Marvel Champions. Deck builder where you can buy things out there, but they also have expansions where you start with a different set of cards than you normally would. Like it's really interesting how it's expanded over time, and now that it's very focused on solo nowadays, where it has like this campaign you can progress through. I think this is going to add its third or fourth box. I forgot which, how many or how many now. But oh yeah, campaign lost. So it's got the Watery Graves, which I think is the new one. Ruin of Thandor and Lost Village, I think were the two original ones. So like the campaign was fun. You went through and like you fought like these bosses and stuff, and it was a cool campaign. And like it probably takes you 2 hours or 3 hours to go through the whole thing for one box, and then 2 or 3 hours for the next box. So it's not like overly complicated or anything. And they have a lot of Kickstarter stretch goals, which this is a complete side note. I know a lot of people in this community are like very against Kickstarter exclusive stretch goals. I'm not. I actually like them. I think it's there's got to be a reason for me to back a game, right? And if the reason is just to see it funded, then no, that's not enough for me personally. You have to reward me for putting money in advance now for your game to come to fruition. Kickstarter exclusives, I think, are a great way. And I'm also one of those people that have no problem with companies selling these things after the fact, right? Like I know some people are like, oh, I don't want these to be available to anyone ever. No, like I think if they wanted to package all these cards up and sell them for like $5-10, whatever, after the fact, I'm completely fine with that. I don't really care. Or if you give me free shipping or you make the game much more discounted than it would be at retail, because a lot of times companies will be like, we'll just pick this $30 tier for a second. They'll be like, oh, it's going to retail at 30, but we're selling it for 25. So thus you're saving $25, except for when you go to an actual store and get it from like Miniature Market or something like that. Well, they can sell it for like $20. So really you're able to buy it at retail cheaper because Miniature Market got the game a lot cheaper than $25 because they do a retail pledge, and this is how retail works, that they were able to sell it even cheaper. So I didn't really get anything for that. So anyway, that's a really kind of side note about Kickstarter. And I want to like get my game before other people. Like that's the other thing. Like if you're not doing exclusives or price cutting, then I would like to get my game before other people. I know this is like a weird thing that like people kind of like don't talk about anymore, or like they're like really negative against. I'm really pro this stuff, so I do like when they do this. And again, I'm not trying to say that if they choose to sell this, or even if they choose to give it away later, I don't really care, like at convention halls or something, like cool, that's fine too. But give me a reason to back your Kickstarter. Anyway, side note. But yeah, so this game I'm super excited for. Oh, here we go. The different encounters that are coming up with the dungeons and all this stuff and what they're doing, and then they're adding all these health out. They're adding so many accessories, which is the only thing I don't like. Like it's such a money drain, this game. But it is a game I really enjoy. It's not hard. Like I said, there's a here you go, the market deck, which is what's out there, and you buy it with different gold that you've accumulated in your deck, and then you try to thin out your deck, right? You know how deck builders work. But it is really cool. It is a really cool game. The art's fine. If you played Star Realms, it's somewhat similar to Star Realms. It's not exactly the same, but Star Realms is a bit more, obviously sci-fi, is a bit more fantasy. I'm always partial to fantasy, so that's kind of how I feel about this. But anyway, I got this. I have all the other stuff. I was like, I feel like I need to get this too. So I like their stuff. It gets a little pricey because of all these add-ons. Like you can just see there's already a ton of add-ons. Here's more. Like it gets pricey. But it is a fun game. It is a really good two-player game, and you could do it head-to-head, co-op, or solo, which I think is cool that you could play the game several different ways. So that's pretty interesting. But anyway, back this. We'll see how it is. I don't get this game to the table as much as I really should. And I hope to show this off on stream a little bit more because it is a fun game for what it is. All right, Set a Watch, Forsaken Isles. This is, you can late pledge it now. I love Set a Watch. I have the first two and I like it a lot. I think it's a really cool mechanic and how it works. I think the game is pretty fun. With the whole idea that the box becomes a part of the board, I think is cool. The weird thing is like you're controlling, what is it? several heroes right at once, and or four heroes, and one is watching the campfire and the other three are like activated. And a lot of times I don't like that mechanic for solo play because it feels like it's lazy. Like they don't want you to actually, like they didn't want to actually scale the game down for multiplayer. So they're like, oh, as a solo player, just play multiplayer by yourself. But it works in this because there's not that much upkeep, or there's not much to think about for each turn. Like it's very, very intuitive in the way it plays. It makes a lot of sense. So I really actually like it, how it works for this. Now there's another game that's out there, and I want to call it Darkest Dungeon, but it's not Darkest Dungeon. It's something else. And now it's going to drive me nuts. And now I need to look it up. All right. So I looked it up. It was called Darkest Night, the second edition. That's one of those games where, again, as a solo player is like really revere and they talk about how great it is. And I don't like to have to control four heroes, and like it feels like a lot of work to control those heroes. This feels like a simpler version of that game, but without making it like a too basic. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's just kind of how I approach it in my head. But yeah, I love the past two games. I was a big fan of them. So I'm excited for this one too. And I thought it was pretty reasonably priced. I want to say Cult of the was what I'm getting. Especially for all new content for this campaign. Yeah. So it was like $76 and the MSRP 100. Let's see if that's actually what it is. I still think that you'll be able to buy the two of these for $80 retail, but whatever, we'll see. But yeah, so I'm excited for this. I like the games. I need to play the second one, whatever it's called. I can't remember now. I really played a lot of the first one, and I got the second one, and it took a little bit longer to get Swords of a Coin. It took a little bit longer to get that game because it was during the pandemic and there was a bunch of shipping issues and whatever. So then I just got put in the back burner for other things. But I need to play it more. But yeah, fun game, fun series. It'll be interesting to see how well the third one is in this. Because like I said, I like the second one. I haven't played as much of it as I want to, but the first one's just so good. All right, here's a game that's still going on currently, and that's the second printing of Isofarian Guard. Now, I backed Isofarian Guard the full first time around, and right now a full game pledge is $180, which is wild because I'm pretty sure I paid like $170 for like everything the last time around, which I get. Things cost more. The game is actually more popular now. It was also one of those things that like, when it was going around the first time, they must have gotten a lot of late pledges because like they kept upgrading things, and they're like, we're gonna make this better and this better and this better and this better and give you more stuff. And it was a fantastic, absolutely fantastic value that you were getting. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because they actually now have where is it? I don't know if I can find it. They have their update pack, and it's $39, which is like isn't terrible. And all the new content is also going to be put into it. And I'm not 100% sure what they're updating. I know there's like some mechanics that were a little off and rulebook clarifications and stuff like that. So anyway, so I backed it. I got that update. I got the foil cards because I'm a sucker for this stuff. I got the purple bag. It's $5, whatever. And I got the sleeves because everything else is sleeved. A lot of people have been asking me about Isofarian Guard, is if they should back it or not. And it's a really weird game to recommend because it's a very fun game, right? It's very, very fun. And I know some people are kind of hit and miss with the mechanics because they are a little more simpler. But I don't mind that. I like it, the campaign style, because it's very easy to pick up and play, right? So one of my biggest gripes with Gloomhaven is that it takes like an hour to set the game up and tear the game down, right? And it takes too long because I just want to play the game. Because of how they do their storage system with all this stuff, like you can see with like on here, like all this stuff gets saved into a giant tray. They just put the top on and you put it in the box, right? So like when I'm ready to play as my hero, I just pull it out, take the top off, I'm good to go. With the map, you do have to set the map up, I guess, but I just roll out the map and put the chips on, and that's it. Like there isn't much you have to do. It saves really well, I think. So I really like the way that it works. I'm a big fan of the game, but I will warn that it's a long campaign. There are portions where you have to find things, right? So like they'll talk about like right there you saw with like materials and stuff like that. You have to find these materials. Now the game tells you where they're generally located, so it's not like you're just randomly searching the giant map to find it. Like you have a rough idea of where it is, but there is like that type of questing involved, right? It's like an RPG game where you gotta like sit there and grind out a little bit. You have to do that a little bit with this game. And if you're playing by yourself, I don't think it's that bad. It's also better if you can leave it on a table set because it's a massive game. So I have a big table that I stream on here that you've probably seen the mats on or whatever. Like the mat doesn't fit on the table, and it doesn't fit with everything else. Like, it is a massive game. It takes up a lot of space. The box takes up a lot of space. Like, a crazy amount of space. If you have like the Scythe Collector's Edition box, like that is smaller than the Isofarian Guard box, right? If you have both Hoplomachus or all of Etherfields, those are smaller. The Tricarian Collector's box is smaller than Isofarian Guard and weighs a lot less, right? Like, it's a massive box. It's going to take up a lot of space. So that's the other warning too, is like, if you're low on space or whatever, this is the storage system. Like, that's all you do. You just literally pop that stuff in. You keep the cubes where they are and all that stuff. Like, it's such a nice storage system. So it's really cool in the way that it works. And I also really like, excuse me, the Foreteller app that comes with it. I think it does a really good job of, because there's a lot of reading that you now don't have to do, and I can kind of set up the game while it's playing in the background, which is really nice. But yeah, it's just a nicely produced game. It's a good story. It's just fun. I haven't beat the campaign all the way through. I'm like halfway through, so maybe the game just falls off at the end. I don't know, but it's still really good, right? Out of these 5 campaign books, I want to say like I'm on like chapter 3. I want to say, or like just started chapter 3, somewhere in there. It's been like a few weeks since I played the game. But yeah, there's a lot to it. This is how it stores. There's a lot. Like, there's a lot. But anyway, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great, but it is kind of expensive compared to what it used to be. So it's harder for me to recommend. Like, this is one of those things you really have to do your homework on and see if this interests you. Because I have heard the big complaint is for some people that the combat isn't like enough meat there for them, right? It's not as enticing to them, which I get. I do understand. I do get that, because if I was to back this now at the full MS, like the full, I get everything for 275. I don't know. I don't know if I would plunge at that amount. If it was like the only game I'm gonna play for a while and like not Marvel Champions or anything, maybe. But right now in my life, I don't know. All right, also live right now is Hoplomachus's Pandora's Box. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read a single thing about this, but I really love Hoplomachus. I have the remastered, I have Victorum. I'm excited to see what they do with this Pandora's Box. It looks like a lot of modular sets. Some of it's for Victorum, some of it's for the remastered, and then some of it's to like cross over the stuff, or this is for remastered and this is the crossover. It looks like some cool stuff they got going on. Chip Theory Games usually does a pretty good job with not exclusives, but adding more stuff as they raise money. So unlocking stuff. So they're unlocking different things, which Pandora's like, I haven't read any of this stuff yet. I'll wait till it gets near the end. But it's cool to see that they're actually raising a good amount of money to be able to do all this stuff. And it'll be interesting to see what it is down in the future. But I like Victorum a lot. This is a question, or this is a game I get a lot of questions about. Because people ask, which should I get? Victorum or the remastered box. So I like Remastered a lot. I play it only solo. I know a lot of people are like, oh, do you have to play PvP? You do not. It's a fantastic solo game. The problem with the game is that there's a lot of dice rolling, and there's a lot of negative things that can happen. Well, the negative thing is generally missing. A lot of the dice have you miss. So there's no way to mitigate it, versus Too Many Bones. The mitigation factor was you collect all the misses and then you can do something with them. In Hoplo, if you just get a bad roll, you get a bad roll. Now, I don't mind that in the remaster game, because a game of Hoplo remastered takes less than an hour, generally speaking. So it's not the worst thing in the world to me if I just have a bunch of bad rolls, because I just play again, right? That's not terrible for me, and I don't mind it. Like, setup doesn't take too long. It's like 5-10 minutes to like unroll the mat and stack the chips and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't take that long. So I don't mind that, and I like it for that aspect of it. Victorum, my biggest issue with Victorum is I just don't have time to play a campaign that much, right? Like, I can do like an act that's like an hour and a half or whatever. That's fine. And then I just don't pick up the game for like 2 weeks or so. And then I kind of forget where I am. And then I forget what I'm doing. And I forget what my game plan was. And I think that hurts me a lot in the game for Victorum, because I just don't have the time to put aside, especially for a campaign, like 6-7 hours that are needed. And granted, you split that up for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is per session. I just don't have the time for that. So that's my biggest issue with Victorum. Now, they're coming out with, what I did read and was told was that one of the modular sets that they're coming out with in this box basically changes a part of the game where it shortens and condenses everything, right? It still keeps it to be like tough and whatnot. I forgot where they it's one of the modular sets. So Dark Days, I don't know which one it is, but it's one of the modular sets they talk about. I think it's this one, Quick Play. So they talk about the modular set and that it's supposed to speed everything up, but like it's the campaign in half the time or less, which is like it's good. It's still like 4 hours. So, I mean, I guess I could do it in 2 sessions instead of like four, which might be better for me. It might make more sense. So anyway, that's kind of whatever. I will say the expansion price for $100 is kind of expensive. The one amazing thing though is that it is free shipping. Which is crazy that we get excited about this now, but here we are. And then plus all the extra stuff they're going to throw in. But free shipping is huge with this. I think that's really good. But $100, like, that's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Chip Theory Games makes expensive stuff because they make really high quality stuff. I really love Chip Theory Games stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I love all their stuff. It just feels like, man, prices of everything are just going up and it's crazy. And I'm not singling them out. I'm just everything's going up in price. But yeah, so I'm excited for it. I know a lot of people ask me like what they should get with this. I'm also excited for these boats. I don't know why. They just seem cool. But a lot of people ask me what I should get. It's hard. It really is hard because Victoria and I just have such a hard time getting a campaign in, but that's because that's my time schedule. That might not be your time schedule, right? So if you can fit in a long campaign, I definitely think it's a better and more balanced and well-rounded game than Remastered is. But I like Remastered because I can just like pick up and play and go. They do cross over if you want them to, so you can use chips from one game in the other game. So there's that too, which is also good to know. So anyway, excited for this. I'm excited for what this expansion will be, and I loved Hoplomachus, so I'm excited for all of this. All right, next up we have a game that hasn't come on the Kickstarter or GameFound yet, and that's The Witcher: Path of Destiny. And they're the same people that did the Witcher: The Old World, which I didn't play, I don't have or anything, but I've heard decent things about it. I've heard that it's pretty good and pretty interesting. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this. I've always liked The Witcher. I like the video games. I think they're all fun. I think it'll be interesting to see what the price is of all this and all that fun stuff. Oh wait, they might have it down here. But I'm excited for it, I guess. But I want to see like how it plays off of. I need to research more how it plays off. Hey, here you go, solo mode. I need to see how it plays off of the first game. If I need to play the first game, if I'm interested in getting the first game, what's available, and all that fun stuff. So I need to research this more. I do kind of regret not getting the first game the first time around because a lot of people have gotten it, and they haven't. They're not saying it's like this amazing like you know whatever game, but they're like it's a solid good game, right? And I like the theme. I like with The Witcher, so I'm gonna take a close eye on this or keep a close eye on this. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to get it, but I'm definitely interested in it. All right, so we also have 20 Strong. This is a game that I backed. I probably should have switched the order of some of these things, but this is just I just threw them up in a random order. But 20 Strong is going to be a smaller box game from Chip Theory Games. I think you can late pledge still, if I remember correctly. So you get to save a little bit. I don't know how much it is, but again, they did free shipping. The artwork is fine or whatever, but I backed this because I wanted I like small box games. I really do. I like small box games. I backed whatever the to get everything was. And I know they're planning to invest in this mechanic moving forward, like with more of these small boxes and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And I'm interested by the idea of just a small box Chip Theory game, right? I have what is it, Triplock, and I like that game for what it is. It's not amazing, but I like it for what it is. I like games that can quickly get to the table and play and just have a little bit of fun. So I'm excited for it as well, or excited for that kind of thing in this game. 30 to 40 minutes sounds fantastic. So anyway, this was one of those things that we'll see how it goes. I don't have like high expectations or hope for it. Not that they're low or anything like that, but I haven't really researched it a ton. But I know they're doing, I think, late pledges now. So if you want to check it out, make sure to do that soon. All right, we have another game from Chip Theory Games. I really like their stuff, generally speaking. I know people have asked about the other games coming out, Roth, I think it's called. I have done literally no research on it, and I don't know if I'm going to invest in it because I don't have time to play half of these games, so I don't know if I'm going to invest in it, and we'll see. But I've heard it looks cool. I've heard it looks good. but I don't know. We'll see when it actually comes up how much it costs. But anyway, Burn Cycle, new recruits and series reprint. I have original Burn Cycle. I love it. For those that don't know, I was an original play tester of Burn Cycle, the original game, or the first wave of this game. It was a great game. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's good. I think it's tough to put on stream because there's how to phrase this. There's two games you're almost playing, which is kind of weird. This one in the middle here that you can see is like where the map is, where you move around all your bots, and then over here is this network pad where there's like different stuff going on. Now there are like they do work well in tandem and they work interesting with each other, and I like that. And there's this whole like action queue selection thing on the right hand side, which is kind of cool too. And then your bot powers is kind of interesting, but it's nothing too crazy. I really like this part of the game in the middle. I really like this part of the game. I really like the action selection kind of thing, right? Trying to decide if you want to open up more of these spaces by using energy, which is also your life, right? And deciding like pulling chips from a bag and placing it, whatever. And then, you know, if you run out, like what that does for rebooting the burn cycle, right? All this different stuff. This mat I'm less crazy about. And this mat I feel like adds a bit too much time to the game. And it's an important thing, right? I'm not trying to say like it's a discounted like throwaway thing, like, oh, they could just taken it out. It's a very pivotal part of the game. But it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite part of the game. To me, it just adds too much. The game is also very large. Like it's a very large game. So it takes up a lot of space. So it's a hard game for me to stream because I just don't have the space for it. But it is a good game and it's a fun game. And I got the expansion because I'm excited to see, what else they do with it. And they had everything you could get for this game. So I'm excited to see what they do with content. It really was just like more bosses. I think there was a few more robots or something like that. And like a few like extra cards and whatever. But it was nothing crazy. I know that I don't know, but I'm guessing they wanted to do this because Burn Cycle came out and it was kind of like hot like right away, so they wanted to capitalize it. That's why I assume happened. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's enjoyable. It's not one that I love streaming, like I said, because it takes up so much space and there's a lot going on with that side stuff that's happening. But it is fun. It is interesting. I don't know, to be honest, if I keep investing this game past this point, right? Like I'm excited for the little bit more content. I'll probably invest as long as it can all fit in the main box. I don't know if I want a secondary box for this. Look, I like Burn Cycle. I think it's fine. I think it's actually well balanced for solo play, which is not always the case with some of the games. Like Cloud Spire is like kind of weird solo. Other games that are out there aren't really balanced for solo. I think they did a really good job of balancing this for solo. But it's just a lot. Like it's a lot to set up. It's a lot to get out there. And like I said, this match just adds a lot of time. So I backed it because I want more of the stuff for the game because I do enjoy it enough to like pick up and play every now and again. And the rules aren't that hard for chip theory games. Like chip theory games is known to have like a lot of like little rules. The rules for this game are actually pretty straightforward. Now there's some weird nuanced stuff that happens, but it's nothing too crazy. A quick refresher will probably be good enough for you. So I like it for that aspect that I can pick up and play. Like even now I haven't played the game for probably 2-3 months and I know I can still like glance through the rules and pick up and play pretty fast. So I like it for that. We'll see if I keep investing in the game in the future. This is kind of one that I know I'm supposed to be getting soon. We'll see if I actually get it to the table though anytime soon. This one is coming to Kickstarter soon, so we don't have much notifications about it, but it's Final Girl Series 3. I am beyond excited for this. I am so incredibly excited for this. Final Girl is a top 5 game for me. I love the game. Now, there's still issues with the game, right? It is still based off of dice, and dice are just luck. And there's ways to mitigate that luck, but it's a lot of luck. If you watch my playthroughs or my live streams, you know that sometimes you just get smacked around and you lose. But that's okay. I don't care. I don't even like the horror theme that much. Like I'm not a big horror movie person. I don't care. It's fun. It's just a fun, interesting, unique game to play. Now, my biggest critique is that it's kind of expensive for what it is. I think like the core box and another box to like actually play the game, like combined is like 40 or 50 bucks. And like the cards are kind of thin. Like my cards are already wearing away and whatever. Like I don't have that many plays on that they should be wearing down already. But you don't really shuffle that much. So I don't really care about the player cards. It's more so if like the villain cards start having issues, or the terror cards. So that part stinks. Like I said, the card quality I don't think is that great. I don't think a lot of the quality of a lot of stuff is great. that is what it is, and it's kind of expensive for not being that great quality, but it's still a fantastic game. It's still, like I said, it's one of my favorite games. I love Final Girl. I love the mechanics for it. I love everything about it. Supposedly for this, the Series 3, there's going to be some big hidden thing. I'm hoping for a campaign mode. I think that's what they're going to do because that's what they did for Hostage Negotiator. And the campaign mode took that game to another level. And I hope it can do it with Final Girl as well. But we'll see. Some people are saying that they're going to make it a co-op game or like a two-player game, which maybe, but then there'd be two Final Girls and not one, which would be like a little weird. But I guess you can make it work. So anyway, it hasn't started yet, hasn't launched yet, but I'm super excited for this game. All right, the last one to talk about, and that is Spire's End. If for those that don't know, I love Spire's End. Spire's End and Spire's End Hildegard are some of my favorite games. Hildegard more so, and Rangataki, which I know I'm saying wrong. I am beyond excited for. I now see from coming up here because I haven't paid close enough attention that it's actually coming to crowdfunding. He mentioned in an email about going straight to retail, so I guess he decided to do crowdfunding instead, which is fine because it's just him and like an artist I think he hires. But I'm excited for it. They're going back to tarot size cards, which would be cool. Cool looking playmat, whatever. It's different. Like that's some of the coolest stuff with this game, is that Spire's End and Spire's End Hildegard like feel different. Like they feel very different for what they are, and that's really neat. I really like that about the games. So I'm excited for this. I know. I guess I could just click on learn more and we can learn more. But I really don't know much about this game. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm 2 to 3 hours. Okay, that's not bad. But I'm excited for it. Long story short, I'm excited for this game. I love the first two. I expect nothing but great things. And I think Hildegard was better than Spire's End. I expect this to be better than Hildegard. So I'm super hyped for that. Now, speaking of this, the one other thing we need to mention, just go back to full screen, is Spire's End Gunner's Tale. This is a new expansion that I think is shipping now. Like I know we got copies of it, and I think my copy is coming soon. I don't know. I pre-ordered it a while ago, so hopefully it comes soon. But they're doing an alternate beginning, which is kind of the big thing for me because the original Spire's End, the first like few cards you go through are kind of like the same, so it's very there's a lot of repetition, which is not as enjoyable. Hildegard starts off right out of the gate like I think it's like 3 paths you can go down, right? Or 2 or 3 paths. And then like quickly from there, like it splits some more. So I'm excited for Gunner's Tale to hopefully split the beginning up a bit more. That's what I'm kind of excited for with it. And again, he does a lot of these small expansions for this game. And I know it upsets some people because you can see like they have all like these little packs and like they're $9 and they're like, I don't know, 10 cards or whatever that comes with. Okay, 23 cards. So it's some cards and stuff that come with it, but I don't mind it because I like the little stuff it adds. And I know for some people it's not worth it. Like for example, oh wow, Marin's on sale right now for $4, but like it's a card that you're paying $4 for, which is expensive, right? Rat King, you're paying, I think it's actually like 3 cards that you're paying $4 for, or the Mushroom, the Siren, like you're only buying like a couple of cards and you're paying a decent amount of money for it. I get that people don't like that aspect of it, but you don't need that stuff. You really don't. So I like all expansions. I hope he keeps coming out with more of this stuff because, like I said, Spire's End and Spire's End Hildegard is some of my favorite games out there. I love those games so much. Even if it is just it's a ton of dice rolling, and I do not care. That's how much fun it is. So anyway, yeah, those are all the games that are coming out or going to be coming out or I'm waiting for that I'm excited for. So once again, let me know down in the comments what's coming out, what you're excited for, you're hyped for. I'm always interested in learning about other people's kind of anticipation lists. Let me know if you share any of the excitement for the games that I'm playing, or if you think there's any games that are like these games that you're like, hey, D20, you should take a look at them as well. So anyway, like I said, if you made this far, do me a huge favor. Make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps out the channel. And make sure to follow along over on Twitch, twitch.tv/D20 woodworking. And I'll see you all next time.